Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Alt+Tab live show. I'm Paul.
And I'm Steve.
And we're going to be talking a little technology with you guys today. Some PC parts, some other tech news that's out there. Nvidia has a fantastic thing coming up as well. And thank you all for joining us. Also, if you would like to interact with us, we'll be monitoring the chat. Jenny's in the chat for today. I'm not sure if Rachel's there too, but I think mostly just Jenny. And then you can also tweet to us on Twitter at SteveOMG or at Paul Hardware. And we will at various times be answering your questions or talking about things that you say.
All right, so I guess I'll start off with some stuff that happened with Nvidia. And if you guys didn't hear about this, this is a little exciting. Basically, they're launching something called Game24, which, if I can show you, is a nice little event that's going to last 24 hours. And basically, their primary goal is to celebrate PC gaming with all of you and all of us. You can essentially go to game24.nvidia.com to sign up for this. It is free. And the live stream is the easiest way to get in there. Am I doing something with the shirt?
Just keep going.
Okay.
Ignore me.
This would be totally comfortable for me to do this while Paul's grasping at my chest. Yes, so they'll be actually traveling to physical events, Los Angeles, Shanghai, Stockholm, London, and other locations. So just go there, sign up for it. We are hoping to be at the, where is it? Hangar 8 in LA. Then the information's here once you go to log in. But otherwise, if you can't, if you're anywhere else in the world and you can't go to any of these different locations, don't worry about it. They have a live stream that will be starting on the 18th at 6 p.m. So it should be pretty cool. They're going to have some hardware announcements, likely to have some giveaways as well. Most likely at the physical event, though. I don't want to throw you guys off too much about giveaways in a stream that may or may not happen. Yes, but it looks like a lot of fun. So hopefully you guys will go and have a good time. Otherwise, go to live stream. So that having been said,
did you guys notice Steve's shirt? There.
I'm pretty fly
focusing
for
right
Wi-Fi.
now. This is we're totally prepared today, guys. We had a complaint in the chat room that we looked a little out of focus. I'm just making sure that you guys can see us okay and everything. How's that look? It looks great, Steve. You're doing fantastic.
Am I in focus?
I think so.
Can you see? Can you see all my face?
I think so.
All my faces.
There's a lot of definition in your chest area, I think, today.
Yes. So on to our very first story, which is slightly wider.
Stories.
Let me back that out a little bit. That is not what I thought would happen when I did that. There we go. Tighten that up a little bit. Paul, this is your story.
What? My story? Oh, yes.
Yes.
Excellent. Excellent. My story right here.
MIT Technology Review?
This is from the MIT Technology Review. So what this story is actually about is a new... Oh, really? It's doing that to me again? Hold on one sec, guys. Sorry.
Intel's new mobile chips?
Yes, Intel's new mobile chip.
Is it about them always listening?
Yeah, well, that's one of the things they can do. So these are Intel's announced the new. They're calling it the Core M line of processors. The first thing for y'all, apart from this always listening thing, is that these are Broadwell chips. So they're based on 14 nanometer manufacturing process, Broadwell CPU architecture in there, which we're not expected to see on the desktop until I think next year sometime, probably first quarter, first half of 2015. So that's pretty exciting. But the stories, you know how news stories like to go. They like to lead with what people will click on, and I think this whole always listening thing is kind of the feature here that's popping out. It reminds me of the Xbox One a lot, actually. So basically, these processors have an extra special, extremely low power core on the chip that's specifically designed to always be on and listening for specific phrases that you might say. So what Intel demoed was you would come and say, "Hello, computer," and your computer would turn on. Or you could say, "Hello, computer, what's the weather like today?" And your computer would turn on and tell you what the weather was like. So
like that what reminds me, that exact phrase reminds me of Star Trek episode where they go to San Diego. It's like they're trying to organize their trip back by taking whales back, if you guys have seen it. Or if you haven't seen it, sorry, I just ruined it for you. So like Scotty picks up the mouse and he's like, "Use the mouse." And Scotty picks it up and he's like, "Hello, computer." Like he's like trying to talk to it. And I wonder if if maybe that phrase had some input from them. I don't know. Maybe I'm just hoping.
That's possible.
Hoping there's some kind of link to my childhood in that phrase. Okay.
Could also be a word that means greeting.
Yeah.
And followed by a word that means the thing that
you're talking to. Yeah, that's. But easily could be.
I wouldn't expect them to be so literal with something like that. Now the thing that popped into my head was all the flack and negativity that Microsoft received with the Xbox One launch, which was like, oh, Xbox One is always listening. That means it's always like watching you, and it's always like they can be monitoring your speech and recording it and sending it back to Microsoft headquarters, where they have a team of
crackpot team.
A team of people and like shady, with like cloak and dagger style,
watching me in my boxers,
parsing through all the information to find ways to do something bad to you. I don't know what exactly.
I think the stream to Twitch button did far more damage than
yeah, that's true.
that Microsoft could have done. Anyway.
So I think this is definitely one of those things that's like inevitable. If you look at science fiction in past, as long as science fiction has existed, that's what they've always wanted. You talked about Star Trek. There's so many crossovers here. They talk to the computer on the Enterprise.
So much better. And
you can interact with it and ask it questions and go back and forth. And now we have that with like Siri and Cortana and these things on cell phones and Google Now. Mm-hmm. So I think it's cool. I like to think that this is not going to be used for malicious purposes. There's a whole range of like the negative side of these types of things, like all of the stuff with like connected home now and people integrating like Wi-Fi connected devices into their home and the potential for those to be hacked. The potential for your computer, like a laptop based on this, to be hacked, and then like they can go in and actually listen to what you're saying or something like that. Yeah, that would kind of suck. I know that happened in years past, like with webcams.
And also with the iPhone breaches, there's some thought that perhaps it was due to the what's the name of that app? Like Find My Phone app.
Oh, okay.
You can basically just hack into that and have full control over it, or almost full control.
I guess you got to take the bad with the good, but the good would be that you can voice interact with your computer can talk back to you. Some of these like fancy technologies like Siri, Cortana, Google Now that you have on your phone now apply to your laptop as well, and hopefully desktop computers in the future too, once those become available.
I would enjoy that. I mean, just my HTPC in general, just trying to tell it which channel to go to or what show to record would be so much faster. Just say, search for this show.
Yeah, like I often, when I get home, I walk in, go through the living room, and I usually like play with the dog for a little while and that sort of thing. And I usually pop on the TV and watch something, and yeah, it's just a matter of convenience. Say like, okay, computer, turn on the TV, channel whatever. Yeah. And
I would love it to just like, I don't know if you've ever messed with shortcuts before with Windows shortcuts in general. You can make hotkeys to them. It'd be cool to sign in a voice activated hotkey for that. Set it up for your dog to automatically start a show about dogs when your dog barks. And just like puts that channel up. And
well, that is one of the things here that they said that. So some of the technology you can do on there. So the Wake on Voice feature is compatible with any operating system, which is cool. So not just Microsoft's operating system, but also potentially Chromebook devices. It can be assigned to respond to any string of 3 words, I believe. Yeah. So it's possible to set any 2 or 3 word passphrase to rouse a computer with a Core M chip, and it can also be trained to respond to your specific voice.
Oh, cool.
At least in this article on Technology Review, they are being very clear that this is not a security measure by any means. Yeah. Possibly, they said, if you combine the voice recognition with like facial recognition, that could potentially be used as a security measure. But
easily
again,
too, but
Star Trek: The Next Generation has demonstrated to us how this could easily be countermanded simply by having data. Yeah. With you just
87 alpha 77 H5.
All you need is an Android human replicant who can speak in anyone's voice.
A lot of Star Trek,
including Sir Patrick Stewart. Yeah. I like all the Star Trek tie-ins here. This is
good.
We should do this. We're going to call this the Star Trek episode. Okay.
From now on. That's what it will be deemed.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. And then, I mean, there's a ton of other benefits to this processor as well. 14 nanometer, it's going to be really low power, so we're going to see much longer battery life on mobile devices and tablets, laptops, and hybrids thereof. So I think it's pretty exciting, and I'm definitely looking forward to Broadwell coming out, especially now that a lot of folks already have desktop platforms that are, if you got Z97, you're going to be able to drop in a Broadwell chip, maybe with a BIOS update needed. But
nice.
It's pretty cool. So yeah. Some Broadwell stuff coming out this year.
So Paul, talk to me a little bit about this ASRock article you have here from Hexus.
All right. So we do have a little bit of X99 stuff to talk about. I know I've gotten both sides of it in the past few weeks because there's been so much X99 talk. So my apologies if you're tired of that. But hey, if you're interested in it, this is just a couple unique X99 stories that I thought were interesting. So one thing that we saw launch was a bunch of ASRock stuff. Actually, ASRock had a pretty significant number of SKUs at launch compared to a lot of the other motherboard manufacturers I've seen. But this is the ASRock X99 Extreme 11, and the Extreme 11 is the top. It's not. It's like you turn the dial up to 10. But where can you go from there? It's like you're stuck. It's like you can, but our dials go to 11.
Boom.
Okay. Anyway, sorry.
I just see.
I'm reusing
picture.
a joke that I used with like the ASRock X79 Extreme 11 like 3 years ago or something.
These
like
are 3-year-old jokes.
It is. I'm just.
But they've never heard it on the live show.
Hopefully
so that's
not.
Good.
Anyway, so getting to the point here, the cool thing about this board, or the cool things about this board that ASRock have integrated, are mainly on the storage side. So as Steve is showing you guys right now, there are 18 frickin' SATA 6 ports lined up on this board right there. So that's 10 from X99. That's an additional 8 via an add-on RAID controller that they have on their storage. I don't think they're saying what RAID controller is on there, though. Are they on this story?
I don't see it.
I read it over earlier. So on top of those 18 SATA 6 ports on the board itself, there's 2 M.2 Ultra slots, and ASRock is calling the M.2 Ultra slots because they've wired them up for PCI Express Gen 3 by 4. So you got 2 of those, which means I'm really curious how they have everything tied into whether things are going through the chipset or whether things are going using directly the PCI Express lanes. I'm fairly sure that they are probably hampering your multi-card support on this one.
2 USB 3 headers here too.
Oh yeah, they got plenty of USB 3 as well.
Or 4 total, but
4 total
headers
on the front.
Yeah.
But yeah, chances are with all of this connectivity, they're having to eat up some of the PCI Express lanes that would otherwise be used.
If you use SATA ports 11 through 18, you lose PCI Express slot 3.
Oh, is that what it is?
No, I'm making that up as funny as that would be.
I'm thinking that for the M.2 ports, because that's 4 4 full lanes just for each M.2 port.
And
so
Gen 3 no less.
that's 8 lanes right there, plus whatever they needed to do to connect up the RAID controller that they have on there, depending on how it's routed, of course.
That's
but
so funny.
if you're a storage junkie, oh my God, like the possible drive configurations you can have going on here without the need for like an add-on RAID card or something. The one thing that I was like kind of disappointed in, but I understand, is that they have some active cooling on the chipset right there, and that's primarily not for the X99. That's actually more so for the RAID controller that they put on there. But actually, here's another thought, and I think this also is not listed here. But based on the way that heatsink is designed, it's possible that they also have a PLX chip on this.
Okay.
And that's not unprecedented. The Asus X99 workstation has a PLX chip, even though you got 40 PCI Express Gen 3 lanes coming from a 5930K or a 5960X. They added PLX as well, just so they could maximize the compatibility and not deal with any bottlenecks there.
So I can tell if that's a choke or if that's just another size to M.2.
I think that's another size to M.2 because it goes all the way up to potentially 110 millimeter lengths. But I'm just excited for like the RAID configurations you could have connected to the SATA, a couple M.2 super fast by 4 drives that like the Samsung XP94 ones. A couple of those in there right now would give you probably somewhere in the 2.5 gigabytes per second read and write range. Wow. That's an estimate, so I could be a little off there, but yeah.
Hold him to that.
So that's pretty cool. But that's ASRock's X99 Extreme 11. It's got all the other X99 stuff that you might expect. It's extended ATX, of course, because there's a lot of crap going on there.
Because lots of things.
And you still get 5 PCI Express slots for up to 4 GPUs. Although I feel like I don't know. That'd be overkill. I wouldn't want to do all that storage and then also try to wedge a 4-way configuration in there or something. A little over the top. Okay, but then there's one other X99 story here, and then this is all the X99 we have for you today. This is from MSI. They have an MSI potato. Is that really what that is?
I look at it and I imagine
I was trying to figure
out
what the heck that was. It looks like it has a potato with a 6-pack or something like that. Okay, so MSI has announced that they have obliterated performance. That's Hexus's words there for their title of this article. But they, oh no, they quoted. That's a quote from MSI. They obliterated the Cinebench, the previous Cinebench world record. They scored 2,314 points on it with the Core i7 5960X overclocked to 5.931.
Tapaka.
That was Tapaka was the overclocker. So they have a little list there.
Maybe that was his little toy.
Broke world records on. Wait, scroll back down.
Oh, sorry.
Cinebench R15, W Prime 1024, W Prime 32, Super Pi 32, Super Pi 1 meg, and Pi Fast are all of these world records that they beat. So they had a really nice overclocking 5960X, I think. They were running at speeds between 5.9 and 6.3 gigahertz. Pretty insane there, and I believe they had to have been using LN2 or something to that effect.
Sure. You're breaking world records.
Yeah, I mean, yes, LN2. And they're saying, at least MSI's claims here, is that clearly this was benefited by the use of the X99S X-Power and the X99S SLI, the MSI motherboards that have the OC backplate, which aids in the mounting of LN2 equipment, and they also have the D-lid die guard, which helps to squeeze performance out of a D-lidded CPU. You learned about that, right, Steve? You did the MSI interview.
Those, everything out there is wacky. No, actually, we didn't talk much about that. We just mentioned that.
The D-lid die guard?
Yeah. But I would love to go hang out with those overclockers in Taiwan again. That was probably the most informational time I've ever spent with.
Was Tapaka there when you were?
Aside from JJ. No, actually he wasn't.
Okay.
No.
Well, that's cool. So there you go, guys. Some X99 news. All right. Well, that's all for the X99 for today. We're going to move on. Oh, wait, one more thing. If you guys were watching last week, we did a live build right here. I took that home. Well, that was actually...
I took that home, he said. He's like,
That was actually my hardware that we were building.
That's what he said when he walked in and just grabbed it right off the shelves. I watched him in the warehouse. He's like, this is mine.
Well, that's what we're allowed to do, Steve. We can walk out to the warehouse whenever we want and just kind of take stuff.
But I didn't want to tell them that.
You didn't know that?
Upset.
Oh, sorry. Oh, wait.
Both of us went in two different directions on that joke.
We've said too much. Okay.
Continue.
Yeah, that was actually my equipment we were building with here
I heard.
last week. So yeah, I did some benchmarking or some overclocking over the weekend and overclocked to 4.75 gigahertz on the 5960X. So if you guys are interested in that, it's on my YouTube channel, Paul's Hardware. Okay, sorry.
Cool.
Final shameless plug for X99, and we shall move on to.
All right, we're gonna jump into some gaming.
What do we got? GTA 5?
Not yet. I think it. Okay. No, it's not gaming. I'm considering this hardware. It's sort of my segue to gaming.
All right.
So I don't know if any of you out there have a Leap Motion or not, but basically Leap Motion, it's a very small device that basically creates a three-dimensional environment for me to interact in with my different digits on each hand, and you can basically manipulate things in VR now with a Leap Motion and a brand new SDK that Leap Motion came out with. Basically attaches right to the very front of the visor so that this three-dimensional environment that you can interact with, this three-dimensional space that you interact with, is directly in front of you. Thus, if you were to turn your head like this, your hands would stay there in the three-dimensional VR program that you're in, or if you move your hands around the headset, it would also mimic that movement. So basically, one of the things that are really strange when you throw in an Oculus Rift, which I'm not sure if you've done yet or not, I think you have. Yeah, you need to come to my house and play with the Oculus, man. Or I'll come over to your house. I'll make it easy. We'll do a video.
Either way. Okay.
So one of the strangest things is not being able to see your own arms in front of you or your own body. So having the Leap Motion to interpret at the very least your hands and arms, that's actually going to help tremendously. So I'm just going to scroll down and show you a couple different demos that they have here, just as in GIF format or GIF format, depending on who's yelling at me right now, Paul or Kyle. So I really like this little electrical orb, this pulsing orb of power that's kind of being tossed around as someone's hands go in there and interact with it.
It's amazing.
Yeah, right. And so these little cubes, I guess I'm not really as impressed with that. But the first one I've ever seen was that grid on the far right, where he's sort of Superman flying-ish. there, kind of interacting with it. But that's basically this. So it's essentially this small plastic mount with a clip and the actual leap motion. And it shows you here the field of view that you actually get. So wearing the DK2s, the Oculus Rift DK2s, you're going to get 100 degrees of field of view. Your hands and the leap motion can actually interact outside that, which is fantastic because when you're looking around, interacting with things, it'd be nice to be able to grab something out of view and bring it into view, as opposed to turning, looking, then moving. It would make the VR experience that much more real. So yes, and if you have a DK2 and you have a leap motion, I think it's only like $20 to get the mount. Let me just click on it real quick. Yeah, so leap motion's 80 and $20 for the developer mount, plus like shipping and taxes and stuff. But yes.
I bet you can 3D print one of those.
You know, that's a good point. I bet you probably could.
The only thing here is that you just need to find somebody who has a dev kit too and a leap motion. I don't know where we're going to find anyone who...
And a 3D printer. If you
oh, well, and a 3D printer if you want to...
This is getting much more slim in terms of the friends you probably have.
You have a leap motion, right?
Yes. No, I'm telling them that.
That's what I was referring to.
You're alluding to us, but I'm alluding to them.
Make sure.
I'm always perspective of you guys. I'm always thinking of you ladies and you men out there. That's what I'm thinking of. Yes, but wait. Where's the GTA thing?
I don't know.
Damn it, man.
Maybe it was taken down.
It was, though. It was not.
No.
But something else is in its place that I'm actually surprised I didn't have in there. All right, hold on a second. Let me just pop this in and move this over. Let's talk a little bit about GTA 5, as Paul has uncovered some information about that and stuff.
Yeah, so here's a little story from Hexus.net again. If you guys can't tell, I looked at Hexus first today, so I picked like 3 or 4 stories from there. But where did this go? Here it is. Okay, sorry, I'm having to copy and paste here because for some reason when I try to go from, never mind, I'll explain it later. So sources hint to, we've been talking a lot about GTA 5 because I think when people have asked us and we've asked other people what your most anticipated upcoming title is specifically for PC, GTA 5 is really high up there. A lot of us played it when it launched on Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3, and then we got, I for one at least got to a certain point where I was like, you know what, I know I'm going to get this on PC when it comes out. So I'm tired of it for now. So
and others of us were purists, and we decided we won't fold to the console teams out there forcing us to consume twice.
Some of us are more strong-willed than others.
Yes, apparently so.
All right, and better people overall. That was the subtext there, right? Okay. So anyway, everyone's been curious though when it's coming out. It's been a year since it released on the lowly last-gen consoles, and now we've actually have a bit of a hint that maybe when maybe when the release date might be. So this is on Hexus.
You got a hint, huh?
This is actually posted by IGN. Some website out there, I don't know who, posted something. You're on the wrong story, Steve.
Sorry. Sorry. There we go. I forgot I'm streaming that. By the way, the next story coming up has to do with PC Gamer. Anyway.
So this website, I've never heard of them. Since removed Newegg listings. All right, so Newegg.
I think it's Newegg.
Newegg has posted some of these the Rockstar GTA 5 titles for pre-sale. I can speak. Okay, and the launch date that was listed was November 18th. However, there's also a UK distributor called for Take-Two, Exortus Gem. They listed November 14th as a release date. And then there's also a rumor that it might be on the 11th. But all of these are within about a week of each other, so I'm going to say that's pretty reassuring. Rockstar has also told people that these rumors that they've had that it's going to be delayed to 2015 and stuff, those are all a bunch of hogwash. So so we're hoping to see GTA 5 for PC as well as Xbox One and PlayStation 4 on in November, it sounds like. So maybe first or second, third week, which means when you're home for Thanksgiving weekend, you can just spend the entire time playing GTA 5.
Your parents will understand.
It's exactly.
When you're older.
I've seen this happen lots of times before. They release like the a big game like right before a holiday weekend.
Yep.
And like
families separated.
Like the people who the gamers are like, oh, that's awesome! I have so much I can play for like 36 or 48 hours straight or something, and the rest of their families they're just like,
have you seen Jimmy?
I used to have a son.
Jimmy was here, and then we lost him. The food was in the kitchen. Now it's gone. We think he's here, but we're not sure.
Nice, but I'm really looking forward to it. Mod scene. We've said all the stuff that we're looking forward to about before, but yeah. November, guys. Mark your calendar, and it does seem like this strange website might have pre-sales available at some point.
I'd check it out.
Perhaps after the official release date has been
NDAs need to lift and
confirmed.
Things like that.
All right.
Yes.
We have more gaming news stories.
Yes. Yes. I find this one might be very exciting for most of you out there that play around with Steam, because Steam is where I get the majority of my games, and you probably do too. So the Steam Client Beta has just updated for better AMD support. And for you AMD users out there, which is probably a nice little feature to have, although you have so many different ways to get your drivers right now anyways, it's probably not like make or break you. But essentially, you'll be able to download a direct update straight from Steam. Let me see if I can find the actual update information here. Yes, that's not what I thought it was. There was another release that I thought that link went to. Yeah, so but bottom line is right now you'll be able to download directly the drivers that you need for your AMD device or your AMD video cards. And right now the following cards that are being supported is any Radeon HD 7900 series, the 7800 series, 7700 series, the R9 295X, the R9 290X, as well as the 290, the 280X and the 280, 270X, 270, 265, 260, 260X, and the 250X. So those are the different cards right now that are currently allowing you to, I guess, directly update from Steam. So that's going to be kind of cool to just kind of click a button and update your drivers if you're a gamer that just wants to sit down and start gaming as soon as possible. So yes,
I view it more as like another option. Like that's the thing I like about computers is that there's so many different ways to do everything, and you can kind of pick the way that you like best and use that as your method. Myself personally, as far as AMD drivers, Nvidia drivers, for things like the GeForce Experience and something like this with Steam for updating drivers for you automatically, for some reason, just because I like to do the things myself. Like, yes. I don't use them. I
prefer to go straight to the website.
I just go straight there and download it directly. And maybe
I totally jumped the gun on that. I am so sorry. That was part of another story I was reading earlier, and I just realized this is for in-home streaming. So if you haven't done in-home streaming yet, I guess that that basically has now support for AMD. I'm so sorry.
That's cool.
I'm confusing everybody in the audience right now.
Has that been clarified? Does everyone understand now?
Does everybody understand now? You can do some in-home stream with I didn't realize that AMD wasn't able to do that right now. I thought it had. It just, I don't know. I probably because
it says it brings better support to in-home streaming.
The biggest addition comes from the form of in-home streaming support for AMD. So I guess maybe it's better. That's in the top here, but yeah.
It's not something.
So reading is something you should probably do before you start talking. And then maybe understanding what you're going to say is preemptive to those.
There's just so many life lessons on today's show.
Yep.
So bless you. I'm going to try to throw a random in here because, all right, here's a story that I saw earlier this week. I read a headline for it, and I've not read anything further. So forgive me for not knowing anything further about this topic I'm about to bring up. But AMD has also talked a little bit more about FreeSync this week, right?
No.
What?
I didn't hear about what
You're not aware of this at all? Damn it. I was hoping
would
Steve would be like, yes, Paul.
No,
basically what they've said is FreeSync is not going to immediately work with every single NVIDIA GPU.
Will it immediately work with every AMD GPU?
I'm sorry, AMD GPU.
Oh.
And FreeSync,
that's more surprising than the second thing.
Yes.
that I thought it was.
FreeSync will not immediately work with every AMD GPU. There are certain AMD GPUs that will support it, and some that are, I believe, that are older. But here's where I have no further information because I didn't read the story, so I don't know why I'm even bringing this up.
No, it's interesting. But, I think it's cool. Go ahead.
Sure, it's interesting. We just don't have any details to tell you about.
It's interesting that I interest you in this without having anything else to tell you about it. Have you heard about that thing that I heard about yesterday? Okay. Moving right along.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm curious. Something I've forgotten if I was ever aware of this.
All right, I found the story.
Okay, good. Go.
FreeSync, only certain new Radeons will work with FreeSync.
Okay.
Yeah, so for the new R9 285, for example,
well, that's got to work with it.
I think the 285 works. Yeah. Wait, what? Okay, so this means brand new cards like the 280, 280X, 270, 270X won't be FreeSync capable.
What?
Won't.
Not like even some firmware update or anything like that? Okay.
I'm learning as you guys watch
news,
right
everyone.
now.
This is news to Paul, news to me.
Nor will any older Radeons in the HD 7000 and 8000 series. So these are all original GCN architecture cards.
Yeah.
GCN was revved, I think, like GCN 1.1 or 1.2 or something for the Hawaii GPUs.
Okay.
So that's why Hawaii, as well as the one that sounds like a Bonaire.
Yeah, the one that sounds like I can't describe to you what it sounds like, but I'll tell you the real word.
Hawaii, Bonaire, and then the 285 are based on the newer GPUs that they made, not the last series. So the 78000 series and the new rebranded 280, 280X, 270. Yeah,
a little bit of a surprise, but so apparently they have to do some hardware in order to make it work.
Apparently,
so it's not just about
yeah, that's kind of disappointing. Because we'd like to have seen support further back for people who just want to buy the monitor and have FreeSync.
So which models of which Nvidia cards are G-Sync enabled then? Is it the 750 up?
No, Nvidia goes all the way down to 650 Ti boost.
Okay. As long as they have DP. As long as they have DisplayPort.
Yes, it has to have DisplayPort, and it has to be at least 650 Ti boost.
Okay.
So that includes 650, 650 Ti, 650 Ti boost and up, including 750 and 750 Ti, as long as it has a DisplayPort out, which there are some cards that meet one requirement but don't have the DisplayPort.
So weird.
Yeah. So this actually means that NVIDIA support for G-Sync almost like it goes back further. Then, because it goes back all the way down the 600 series line.
Well, that probably is because they were doing the H.264 encoding. No, that probably isn't. They were probably just deciding what they were going to do with it, and they were thinking G-Sync in the future already.
Yeah.
So they were just implementing it. Yeah. All right.
Anyway, okay. Sorry to sidetrack. We were talking about games.
Yes. Should we check Twitter?
Yes. Actually, I already have a few questions that I.
You already have some
that I favorited.
Oh, let me go
favorites
to
but yeah, if you guys want to send us some Twitter questions right now, ask us questions about things, tech related or otherwise. We'll try to answer them if we can.
You're gonna start with
unless
Lamont?
they're what?
You're gonna start with Lamont's question here?
Sure. Let's start. So Lamont Cranston asks, "How many computers do you have in your home?"
Be honest.
Be honest. We had this discussion on a Yoked, I think, like many moons ago, and it's changing constantly. So now to give you a direct answer to this question, I would need to ask the question: are we talking about fully functional computers?
Let's consider that.
Are we talking potentially how many computers? If I went home tonight, I was just like, I need to have as many computers as I can.
Would you be in your mind thinking to yourself, if I have an SLI or a Crossfire setup, I'm pop one of those cards out, I'm going to grab one of these test beds, throw this together?
It's just processor based. If I have a processor and a motherboard for it, then I can probably get a system.
I'll roll with you on processor, sure.
No. That's all right. Let's go with working functional computers.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to cheat too. I'm going to count my wife's work stuff. So
That's
my
fine. It's in your house.
My wife has her laptop. She has her work laptop. I have 3 laptops. And
it's your laptops that kill me.
I have 3 laptops and a netbook. I have my old X99 system, my new X79 system, the X99 system that I just set up, my wife's main gaming system, my test bed out in the garage, and I
think you have me beat.
And my HTPC in the living room.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you got me beat.
And that's probably all I could legitimately count right now, unless we're going to like tablet.
No, we're not
or anything like that.
Yeah, tablet. No, we can't do that. That's not fair. Let me think, because.
To be fair, I don't use all 3 of my laptops. Like two of them are older laptops that are still there and still work, but I've pretty much they sit there.
Well, I live in an apartment complex, so that includes
reason.
Everybody
look at my
underneath the same
building,
roof.
everything.
The building, yeah, I'm in a
okay.
duplex, so the next door neighbors, I'll have to call them real quick. No, you definitely have me beat. I've got my laptop, my wife's laptop. We have the HTPC. I have 3 gaming systems, 1 secondary system. Yeah, that's it. I think I'm at 7. And 1 system I haven't built yet, but I'm not going to count that one because I haven't built it yet, and it doesn't let me win. So
that's all right, Steve.
Yeah.
Gives you something to shoot for.
My wife would kill me, and I still can't believe your electrical bill is less than mine. You must have all these systems that you just never plug in. You just don't leave them on.
Well, when I'm not using them, they're not on.
Yeah, well, yeah, and I guess because there's only 2 people in your household, even if you had 50 computers, you'd only use 2 at a time.
Yeah.
But your HTPC is always on.
The HTPC is always on.
Which power supply are you using in that, by the way?
But that is you. Gosh,
because
it's not even a really nice power supply. It's
is it bronze at least? Because I'm switching from something else to a bronze, and I think I have like
gosh, it's so long since I set that up. It's a Core i3 LG1155. I think it's a Core i3 like 2105 or something like that. So already like the TDP is pretty low. I think that's the 55 watt TDP one, and it just like it sips power. It's and there's no discrete graphics card in there.
I think I have a Q6600 in mine.
It's got an 80 gig SSD and a 500 gig Seagate mechanical hybrid drive in there, and I'm waiting for the hybrid drive to die because it's used like a NAS drive. But I keep saying that and it keeps not dying, so I'm just going to keep saying that. It's going to die any day now, and it's been doing all right. So
that's awesome. Yeah.
Knocked on wood.
Knock on some fake wood here.
Oh wait, I got notifications. That was one question. Let's answer some more.
Just spend 20 minutes on everything we talk about. Any word yet on the release date of the Asus Sabranco white motherboard?
I do have an update for you guys on that one. This was confirmed on my video that I shot with JJ for X. So I have another JJ video that I still have yet to upload for X99. That's probably going to go up tonight or tomorrow. It's the long video with JJ talking about all the X99 motherboards, and I was able to get in to confirm on camera they are doing the Sabranco board. Cool. Which is the Asus TUF series, but it's white, but it's going to be a limited amount. I don't want to say any more than that, but it's a limited quantity. But they are making it, so it will be available. But it's probably, I don't know. It's hard to say how much of a draw that is. I could see it. I could see it selling out really quickly.
If they plan the numbers right.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if say they're making 500 of them. Yeah. There's not going to be 500, but distributed across. That's global.
Worldwide.
That's worldwide. Yeah. So that's,
that's going to go.
Yeah. There's not going to be many of those. But again, I don't really know exactly how many they're making or anything like that. But I do know that they are making them. I don't know when they're coming out or anything further.
I skipped one from you.
I'm excited.
Would you ever build a Hackintosh compatible PC and install OS X or OS X on it, and on your own channel, of course? Would you ever do that?
I'm going to say maybe. One of my as I'm sure many of you are aware, being PC enthusiasts yourself, as soon as you're identified as the computer person, like by your group of family and friends, that you tend to be the go-to for any questions. So whereas I have worked with Mac before and I can kind of get my, I know my way around a little bit, I have intentionally not worked with Mac in actively in many, many years. I mean, high school was the time I did it. Oh yeah, the round mouse with one button. Yeah, that's great.
They have 2-button mouse.
I know they have. You can use any mouse with Mac, but
any of the mice.
But yeah, so this was a ploy by myself. One, I'm not a huge fan of Mac. I don't disparage people for using Mac stuff or anything like that, but it's not my cup of tea. I'm more of a tinkerer. I like to get in and dig in and stuff, and I don't mind the technical stuff. But two is that what this means is anytime somebody comes to me and says, Paul, I'm having some problems with my computer, and I say, oh, what's going on? What's wrong? And they say, well, my MacBook Air, and I'm like, oh, let me stop you right there. The Genius Bar, I'm sure.
Yeah. Call, set up an appointment.
I can't help people with Mac
Bring
stuff,
a snack.
and I kind of enjoy it. That's really.
I kind of enjoy it.
That's
really
what
what
it
you
comes down
say
to.
Macintosh? I can't help you. That's what Paul says.
You're screwed.
Yeah.
No.
Let me give you this 800 number. Oh yeah,
yes.
yeah. That we've been doing right
that's
now.
the last
two
things we've been doing.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. But yeah, so it's partially to help me divert tech questions that are on Mac hardware. Even iPhones, I like barely. Every time I pick up an iPhone, like they're so easy to use, but I still pick it up and I'm like, what? How do you do this?
How do you do things?
Oh, slide to unlock. Okay, that's good. You have a password.
Of course I have a password.
Do anything. Steve has passwords on everything. Yes. But yes, but to answer your question more directly, I do always like to learn new things. I wouldn't mind knowing more about Macs and about OS 10 or OS Puma or whatever, say Ocelot, whatever cat they're on.
I want an Ocelot. Those things are awesome.
But so yeah, I could see myself doing that. It would be a learning experience for me because I barely do much stuff with Mac at all.
Yes. Doing the stuff with the Mac.
Aaron Hunt asks, when will we see X99 motherboards with Thunderbolts? And that would be right now. They're already out. I haven't seen any that ship with Thunderbolt available on them, but what most of them have is a Thunderbolt header on the board, which means you buy an add-on card. So like Asus has a Thunderbolt card, for example, but the board needs to support an extra connection in order for it to do that. So that's why X79 had no Thunderbolt support. But as long as the motherboard says it supports Thunderbolt, you just have to buy the add-on card yourself right now. But I'm guessing we're probably going to see bundled boards that have a few extra add-ons too that come with Thunderbolt capability right out of the box. So that's cool.
We got another question here. I know you don't like the PC being on the floor, but what about in a desk cabinet with a door on it and an opening in the back? Opening in the back, I think is what they mean.
That's going to this is from Shiminator, by the way.
Yeah, Shiminator.
Hey, Shiminator.
I guess I went too low.
I mean, so my main reason I don't like computers on the floor is because that's where all the dust is, and it's going to suck all the dust right in the front of it. Like a desk with a the computer cabinet in it, I've used those before. It's still low to the ground. I mean, if it's a couple inches off, that's still pretty close to the floor. The fans are creating a negative pressure area right there, which means air is gonna naturally move towards it, and then that combined with like static electricity and stuff means it's gonna get pulled in and messed up in there. Those types of cabinets, unless the cabinet itself has active cooling in it, like actually installed fans. Actually, Linus did a very entertaining
active cooling.
No, he was out in his living room and he had this thing with his HTPC and it was overheating, so he was like cutting holes in it to add fans on to like provide active cooling. So if you do something like that, I think you're okay. If you don't, you better make sure that you don't have heat generating hardware, because wood is a pretty decent insulator, especially when it's thick. And if with just an exhaust on there, with no way to have an intake, you're going to have heat pooling. It's going to get very warm, and that's going to reduce the life of your components. Just
straight up,
pretty standard. So I'd say like they're okay in certain situations. Get some active cooling in there. Get some way for it to push cool air into that thing, and just like give it. My like 18 inches. That's my like. If you can get it about 18 inches up off the ground, I feel like that's enough distance to where the dust bunnies and stuff aren't going to be able to make that jump.
Yeah, and make sure it's secure, whatever you end up putting it on, because you don't want that to like fall over too. That's a little bit of a fall for something like that. Let's see, what else we got here. Something from Damon you favorited. Favorite new feature on the new Haswell E platform?
Favorite new feature, I mean, 8-core 5960X. I mean, I know that's up there, and that's very expensive, and it's
25 megabytes of cache.
It's a 20 meg cache. I mean, the processor itself. I mean, if you look at what we got going from Sandy Bridge E to Ivy Bridge E, which was, I mean, it was a little bit better, but it wasn't. Plus, when Ivy Bridge E launched, like Haswell was already out on mainstream. It's just it was felt lackluster. Haswell E is like the big bump in pure processing power that I think enthusiasts have been really wanting for a long time. That, and I mean, I know you asked what feature, but like all of these features that the mainstream platform has been getting for the last 3 years since X79 launched, like native USB 3.0, additional SATA 6, like all of those things together really make it such a compelling platform. But no, never mind anything I've said. I'm going to change my mind. X79 systems are take a notoriously long time to boot up.
And this will be much faster.
The X99 system I've set up at home right now on the EVG X99 classified boots in like 10 seconds. It's like that's one of those. I know it's like so silly because it's like it's initial boot up time. It's like I used to have no problem going and turning my computer on and walking away for a few minutes doing something else and then come back if my computer's booted up. But now like with the new laptops and with the 87 or Z97 systems and that Windows 8.8 or Windows 8 or Windows 8.1 integration, it's just like I really like having the put the button. Okay, I'm working. Like that's super nice. But anyway.
Okay. Let's see. Feist was looking to upgrade his phone to a Note 3, but will Note 4 be worth waiting for, or save a few bucks to go with the Note 3? Which one should he do? Wait for the 4, or what do you think?
If I gave you an answer to this question, it would be because I was just picking a random answer to this question. I'm sorry, I don't. These neither the Note 3. The Note 3, I've barely, like, I think I have one friend who has one, and I, like, held it for a second. And the Note 4, I really don't know much about so far, so I'm sorry. I'm going to try to improve my phone knowledge, because I do like smartphones and everything. So I'm hoping to make some new contacts there, because right now I've been going with my LG G2 for the past, it's over here. You notice it's plugged in, because in the past 2 months the battery life has just totally gone to garbage on me. That's going to be 2 years old in November, and then I get a new phone.
Done.
Yeah, but hopefully I want to try more new phones because I like the new phones. They're cool.
I'm gonna jump over to some of my Twitter stuff.
Okay.
D-Man has a nice little picture of waiting for me to come onto a game. This is what he looks like waiting for me to log in, which is pretty.
When he's waiting for you to.
Yeah, he's like, hey Steve, wanna play some Gmod? And like you said that you would, like 4 times, and I'd be like, yeah, no problem. And then something will happen, my wife and I have to go do something, or be like, oh, I gotta do laundry. Like, oh, it's time to eat something, so I should cook something. And like,
you didn't tell your wife that D-Man's waiting for you?
I did, but she doesn't care.
Oh.
I'm sorry, D-Man. She's like, that Irish kid? I was like, yeah, that's the one I'm talking about. Yeah. Dylan McIntyre asks me, could I start calling Jenny J-Dog? No, I won't do that. That's a ridiculous name.
J-Dog.
And Robin asks, if I came to LA, would you go out for a drink with me? And he means this as friends, not a date. And I believe he means that as friends because I feel like Robin's not sexually attracted to me. That's mainly the reason why I think he means not a date.
What?
I'm just screwing around because he's like, wait, that sounded funny in the middle of his own tweet. Yeah, he's just like, enter. Wait, no. Yeah, so yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I would go out and have a beer with you guys. I think it'd be awesome. So yes. All right. I think I need to go back to your tweets real quick. I kind of
there's one I think for you here. Actually, there's that one could be for you.
Oh great.
This is from YN Wallien. Ryan just got Wally. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Ryan Wallien.
Okay.
Willian. Okay. I just got a Blu-ray drive for my computer. How often, though, do people burn Blu-ray discs? I would say never.
Yeah.
I've never burned a Blu-ray disc. Steve has a different answer, though.
Yes, I have before, and I used to do that to make backups of my systems. And it was nice, because then I wouldn't have to worry about wasting actual, I mean, it's still using media, but it was more inexpensive to buy like $1 25 gig Blu-ray than it would be to, go out buy like a hard drive or create a NAS or whatever, because inherently those, depending on how you write the Blu-ray, those cannot be rewritten to, so you can continually put them back into other systems that may or may not be infected and not have to worry about infecting your backup. Whereas if you were to use a NAS or other writable storage like a USB flash drive, then that can be rewritten to. But I've since changed my tune because I care less. I want stuff to happen now. I'm tired of waiting, especially when I'm backing up my wife's computers. So just having a nice backup hard drive just to be able to throw an image onto or image from is so much faster than using Blu-rays.
Yeah, the optical read and write speeds are just so crawly. I mean, like I burned CDs, I burned DVDs, did plenty of those.
Yeah.
Blu-ray came out. I have a Blu-ray player like in my HTPC. I do really appreciate the full uncompressed 1080 that you get from Bluray. And anyone who tells you, oh, I never do Blu-ray because I just watch Netflix or something, there's a huge difference. Like, it's very noticeable, especially if you have a nice TV.
Watch what's the name of that movie? Pirates of the Caribbean, I think the first one. You can actually see the paint on the shirts that represent dirt, but you can see it on the Blu-ray that it's paint. that's the clear difference between 480 and the 1080.
So so Blu-ray, I fully am behind, even though it's still getting to be a little bit passe as to do movie playback and that sort of thing. For me, when I had a Blu-ray Blu-ray reading drive, and then at the time, I think the Blu-ray burners were probably $150. Maybe they were starting to come down a little bit.
So that was like a by 2 or something, or by 4?
By 2 or by 4. I mean, this I can't even remember how long ago this was that I even considered it, but like the prices dropped, and I think when I saw Blu-ray burners for like $80-ish, I was like, okay, maybe that's something I should grab one of. But then I looked at the media, and the media was still like $253 per Blu-ray.
It's expensive, yeah.
And that's where I looked at it. I was like, oh, that's like, I don't want to. Yeah, I don't want to buy just that media because it's so stinking expensive. And then after that, like, it just got to be this crossover point where it got beyond it to where I'm like, I have flash drives, I have hard drives, I have other forms of storage that I felt were more appropriate. So I never ended up getting a Blu-ray burner and burning.
And they don't last very long either. Optical media only lasts like 10 years. If you look at your old, well, depending on your age.
Sometimes even less. Sometimes 4 or 5 years.
Leave it in that visor that you put all your CDs in, and you pull it out like 10 years later because you haven't ever used it. You only use your phone, and you're like, wow, the actual data portion is just peeling right off, and that's what happens. That's why they're not a good form of a long-term storage backup. There are forms that you can purchase and specialty burners that actually make a more long-term backup, but even then, I think it's only like 20 years or 25 years.
Yeah,
right?
so we try to work in a random PSA into every episode of Alt+Tab show. So here's our public service announcements. To any of you guys who have old optical media, whether we're talking CDs, DVDs, or otherwise, that you've burned stuff to, and you want to keep that data, particularly if it's backup of photos or something like that, go and check that stuff first to make sure it still works, and if it does, copy it somewhere else. Because unless you're buying archival quality media, you could potentially have that data be unreadable within 5 years. So
use Google Drive. Just upload it. Keep making new free email addresses.
And that goes into the whole uploading to the cloud thing, which is another.
Well, I mean, if it's not something that important, I mean, like pictures of your kids or something, and you need to back it up, I trust that Google's not going to take advantage of your. I
only store nude selfies in the cloud.
It's probably the safest place you can put them, Paul. Should we do any more Twitter before we?
Wait, there was one more. There was a question from Jay, and I don't know the answer to it, but I think you might be able to help a little bit. So Jay was streaming last night. This is from Jay's 2 cents, by the way, a friend of the show, and he does a weekly live stream show on Thursday evenings at 6. It's called Tech Talk. You can view that on Jay's 2 cents YouTube channel. Although last night he switched over to Twitch instead because I guess YouTube was causing some trouble. So he said he noticed last night that XSplit was not using his 5960X power. It sat idling at low quality.
So I would probably have to research that more. It could be that the 5960 doesn't have an iGPU, right? All the enthusiasts don't. So I know that if you have QuickSync, then and you're using like maybe I don't know, any Haswell or
any mainstream
board after anything that has an iGPU in it. That's the safest way I can say it. So I think that's like from 2nd gen.
Sandy Bridge or no, the gen before. Westlake, Westmere. I can't remember.
Does that have it in it? I don't.
Yeah, the 1156 did.
Okay.
That was the first generation that had iGPU. It was horrendous. It was like.
Well, maybe not that one then. Let's skip up the Sandy Bridge up. Sandy Bridge up.
Sandy Bridge had QuickSync. I don't think the previous generation. Had
right, and that's the important thing. That you can use with OBS, and that will help you tremendously. Or if you have an NVIDIA-based graphics card, you can switch over to that and the encoding for OBS. But aside from that. I don't know why it would do that because I've never had that issue, and personally I don't own a 5960X, and maybe I'm just trolling you now for the answer, like, oh, I don't know, I don't have the money for 5960X. You can go talk to somebody who does. No,
so the other thing here might be, so Jay, I think, here's another potential thing that could be going on here. Now if you're talking about quality settings on Twitch,
that's way different.
Those are determined by, first, if you know John, and he can set up your channel to have quality settings up from the get-go.
Yeah.
But it depends on your viewership, right? Like you need to have 500 or more.
You usually have to be a partner.
And you got to be a partner.
You got to be a partner, which
Okay.
would be good for you because you can make money off of it.
Yeah.
So I would recommend that, but even then you have to have a certain level of viewership, I believe. But I could shoot. Let's talk about this after the show. But I'll introduce you to John,
Yeah.
and then you work whatever magic you can work with John, and maybe he'll be able to set you up with an early partnership.
I'm guessing the 5960X just didn't have to do anything to do that Twitch streaming.
Yeah.
And
That would have been fine. 12 cores.
And it was just sitting at idle
8
because
cores,
it didn't need to use any more
16
power than that, and it was just on the Twitch side that wasn't enabling those
Yeah,
different.
That's
quality
totally
settings.
separate. That's
Yeah.
Twitch. Twitch is
Okay.
not allowing that. So okay.
Well,
Anything else?
we've gone through a lot of stories. No, we haven't.
no,
We've
we
gone through a
haven't.
lot of Twitter questions, which I
Yes.
like because I feel like sometimes we go through the whole show and then we're like, we've never answered
know.
anyone's questions.
Do it.
All right, cool.
All right, Paul. So I wanted to talk to you really quick about the Dreadnoughtus.
Okay.
You heard about the Dreadnoughtus?
That sounds like either a new case from Cooler Master or a guitar.
Oh. Well, it's the 70,000T. No. Sorry, the seven. I'm trying to say the 760T, but like seven.
Oh,
760
I'm sorry. I meant
million.
a case from Corsair then.
Yes.
No,
yeah.
it's a dinosaur.
Yes, it's a dinosaur, and this is only important if you care about science stuff like I do, and you like dinosaurs.
Or
But basically,
or file this under Steve and Paul both used to be little boys who were obsessed with dinosaurs.
anyway.
But it was always about what was the biggest dinosaur. It was like,
Right.
oh, Brontosaurus, that's
Yeah.
the biggest dinosaur. And then like, no, I'm sorry, it's the Brachiosaurus. Okay, and you had to correct everyone. Your friends are like, I'm a Brontosaurus. And you're like, no, you're not. I'm a Brachiosaurus. I'm
No,
gonna
he
kick
can
your
be the
butt 'cause I'm
Brontosaurus.
bigger."
Yeah, exactly. I'll
Yeah.
be the Brachiosaurus and smack around. Then
And
somebody
then they
calls
had,
it
I feel like it
Tyrannosaurus
went up,
Rex.
I feel like at the point I stopped paying attention was like Ultrasaurus or something.
Yeah,
they came out
yeah,
with.
that's right. I remember
They had
that.
that. And so now they have
The Dreadnoughtus.
Dreadnoughtus.
Because that is actually more impressive. I don't know where they were going to go from Ultra, but
I like
but yeah.
Dreadnoughtus. It sounds very ominous. Like
I think it's big.
he looks pretty hard. Like if
is
this
a
was a
terrible
dinosaur
image.
show in the early '90s, that he'd be like in a death metal band or something like that.
Yeah,
Dreadnoughtus.
so this thing is 59,000 kilograms or 130,000 pounds and measures a massive 26 meters from nose to tail.
So go down to the chart they have further down.
59,
I really
yeah,
like
yeah.
The chart.
The chart is really funny.
So there's a dude lying like next to a
oh,
toe.
yeah, this is like, yeah.
It's like it's toe.
Whoa, I hit the middle mouse
whoa.
button. My bad. Yeah, this is supposed to be right next to the right tibia.
Okay, tibia.
So he's just chilling at a very small part of the leg. Anyways, so here's the size weight comparison of the Dreadnoughtus. Why is Scrawny?
I'm guessing
be
that's the
scrawny.
name of the scientist or something like that. That's the biologists like to do that. They throw their name into the.
So here's a Boeing 737 right next to the length of this Dreadnoughtus, and then you have I'm not even going to try.
Xenobiologist.
Is this supposed to be the Ultra? The gynecologist?
No, I think that's another one that cropped
Asaurus.
up in the during my college years when I wasn't paying attention or something.
It's after
40,000
Brachiosaurus.
kilograms.
Yeah,
There's Brachiosaurus. There's
There he is.
Diplodocus.
Diplodocus. I skipped over
Poor
Diplodocus.
Brontosaurus. The Brontosaurus was always like the dinosaur. I mean, apart from T-Rex, depending on whether you like the meat eaters or not.
Oh yeah.
But Brontosaurus, I feel like they don't get a fair
He's not
shake
even in
these
here.
days. They don't
Just
even
go
have
straight
him
to
on the chart.
Brachiosaurus. You're right, because the Brachiosaurus had the big knob on its head.
Yeah,
Yeah, and the Brontosaurus looked cooler.
I like the Brontosaurus.
Yes, and don't forget the moose. The moose is down
The
here.
moose, which apparently weighs 0 kilograms.
Yeah, it's
No,
too
it's
low to
it's above
measure
0, but-
when you compare it to the 60,000 kilogram Dreadnoughtus. So yes, I thought that was semi-fascinating, but more importantly, this chart made me smile.
'Cause
You
there's
could
a-
fly
'cause
away
there's
in
a
one of
Boeing
these.
737 right in there.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
and I just kept humming the song of Jurassic Park, like dun 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 dun. Dun. Anyway, all right, moving on to the next story, the last
Great,
story.
Steve. Now Twitch is going to shut down our stream for copyright.
Yeah, like
infringement.
copyright. No,
You were playing the Jurassic Park theme song.
We detected Jurassic Park, the movie. You can't do that. We even saw dinosaurs. This is the very first time ever that humans have actually achieved.
Somebody's saying the Brontosaurus was not a real dinosaur.
Oh, is that why it's not?
Is
on
that
there?
what happened?
Well,
That must have
Pluto
also
was a
happened.
planet at one point too.
That's true.
All the things we know and love have changed.
I guess that's what happened. What happened? Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't need to do some research on that.
we're gonna
this
we're
whole
gonna do more
Brontosaurus
research
thing.
about
I'm going to
dinosaurs,
start a campaign to bring back the Brontosaurus.
and then underneath it be like and Pluto.
And Pluto.
just wrap them all
Screw
together.
you, Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Yeah, you don't know anything, physics man. Okay,
Wait, Triceratops too?
A dinosaur. It was a hoax.
it was a hoax.
Yeah, it was fake.
Well, it's so much like the other ones we
Oh,
see.
so it was one that like found some bones of that. Clearly, this must be a massive dinosaur. Let's call it the Brontosaurus, but really it wasn't something else or whatever.
and then the
I'm seeing here
Flintstones.
that Triceratops has also been declassified. I've been out of the dinosaur game for so long.
Wow.
My 12-year-old self will be very disappointed in me. But man, my world has been shattered.
Shattering
But wait,
Illusions.
what was it in Jurassic Park then? When when Ian Malcolm was like that? No, the sick one. That was a Triceratops.
That was
No,
Triceratops.
but I think it was
After that.
recently than Jurassic Park
That got declassified.
Triceratops have been declassified. 'Cause remember that book was
You
written
sound like
in,
the Triceratops.
Yeah, yeah, it was, yeah, because the movie was 93. In the words of Ian Malcolm, that is one big pile of... Anyway.
All right. I'm moving forward. I'm moving forward to our last story, which has to do with brain-to-brain verbal communication. What is so funny?
I feel like a lot of the topics today we've known nothing about.
Yes. Well, this is no different.
That's why I'm laughing. Wait, hold on.
So I'm going to grab you with the title here and just say that humans have been able to communicate with each other directly from brain to brain for the very first time, because a team of researchers successfully did it using non-invasive technologies across a distance of 5,000 miles. And I'll show you this chart that will easily explain.
This is going to show you exactly how to do this on your own at home.
This is your brain on the left with motor imagery, the motor imagery section of your brain being set up to things that don't look very invasive, but they kind of do, because it looks like it's below the skull on the brain where that first electrode is.
But the guy on the right has like a couple of those wind-up keys like embedded in the back of his head.
You know what I think when I see that? I think of Ender's Game, where they have the like twining of fiber optic cables that go all the way into the brain, but that's just like the happy version of it, with like circles and everything's fine.
Really, if they actually the people that actually tested on this look like the antagonist lady from Captain EO. You know, it's like half of a body like hanging from all these wires and things. Whatever. It's like some,
I don't know what it is, but I want to know.
You haven't seen Captain EO?
No, let me go look it up.
my
What is
gosh.
that? Go ahead, go. What is it?
Captain EO. I don't know what her name is.
Wait, was that in
It's the show
Disneyland?
with
yeah, with
Michael
Mike
Jackson
yeah.
at Disneyland.
Okay, hold on. Where is this?
This is.
We're just gonna take you
You
guys
how
completely
easily
off
I've
the rails.
just thrown
on
us
this.
completely off topic here.
I don't. What's her name?
The Supreme Leader. That's who it is. And
Where?
Angelica Huston.
Where?
This
her?
is the Supreme Leader.
I
But
can
I
see
don't.
it.
I mean, you would, if you Google Captain EO, the
Oh, she
Supreme
looks
Leader.
pretty scary. Yeah.
She looks way different in the actual. Just
Oh.
Google Captain EO, the Supreme Leader. That's probably. There you go.
Oh, that's wicked.
Yeah.
Rebecca Houston.
No, Huston or Huston? Is it Houston?
Houston?
Okay.
He was married to Jack Nicholson.
Oh yeah,
Oh.
of course.
Look at that. Look at this
Good old
correlation
Jackie
right here
boy.
between the Borg.
Oh
and
yeah,
her.
very similar to the Borg.
That's creepy, man.
You guys
Yeah.
didn't know that was inspired by Captain EO?
No.
You are so not Trekkies.
Wait. So then, oh, it was inspired. Did you just read that? I didn't read that.
I don't know.
It says the character of Hooter was inspired by the Return of Jedi's Max Rebo. Okay. Anyway. Back to the brain-to-brain
you
thing
can-
that we know very little about. Now, if you pay close attention, we've made correlations to painful surgeries and Ender's Game with the occasional Captain EO. Now, if I follow suit with those points, no, really, if I look at this, I really don't know what's happening because I had very little time to look at this. And this is something Kyle gave me, and he's like, "Hey, this is kind of cool." I was like, "Dude, that is really cool." And then I started reading it and going, "I don't know if I can talk about this because I know so little about it." And Paul, what do you know about this?
Well,
you know about-
neuronavigation has been a favorite subject of mine for quite some time.
Did you read that at night?
It's no, this is.
It uses Bluetooth. That's probably the non-invasive part. Everything else that's inside your skull, that's the invasive part. Oh,
So
man.
what I'm advocating for here is rather than an actual transmitter embedded into your brain, if you could get set up for like a USB port or something, but
Is that what
not
you'd want?
the old. We want the new USB.
The new
port
one. I was just
that's
going to say, don't go with the
reversible.
old one.
Yeah.
Because then how hard would it be to
But
get it just
that way
right?
you could upgrade. Because I mean, right now it's Bluetooth. But what about what
Yeah.
if in the future they come out with some new, like, better wireless technology? You know, Bluetooth isn't going to be the standard for forever.
Yeah,
But you get that, you know, you get that port. That way you can just plug in whatever.
Yeah. Just walk around the
and you
house and
can-
actually disconnect yourself from your consciousness.
Yeah.
That's somewhere else in the world.
Then you can jack in and
Yeah. So
and communicate brain to brain. I think this has great potential for online gameplay. And basically, you're playing your online game. You know, you're in your MMO or your FPS or whatever like that, and somebody kills you. You can instantly think to them some abusive term or derogatory phrase. That's
I mean, if you wanted to troll, this is trolling 2.0.
yeah, and it
This
comes
is
right
way
into
up
their
there.
brain.
That's fantastic.
That's
Trying
what
to
I want to
see-
use this technology
trying to
for.
see- Oh, here we go. Here it is. That doesn't look as bad with this, but basically, they're just sending either a 0 or a 1. That's not like binary. They're just sending either 0 or 1. God damn it. Right after that, it says the emitter on the left shown the binary code and the receiver on the right. So then it's basically a computer interpreting, because I read, when I read through really quickly, it was basically they think something and then that translates into something that's being encoded to be transmitted. But I thought he was thinking ciao or hola or something like that, and they end up getting translated into binary, which is then transmitted out. And
I see.
and moving their hands for a 1 or their feet for a 0. This is like the worst first ever. At the BCI end, the words ciao and hola were translated into binary. This was then shown to the emitter subject, so he's like sees those words, who was then instructed to envision actions for each piece of information. So like moving their hands for a 1 or their feet for a 0. An EEG, then an EEG was then capturing the electrical information sent by the sender's brain as they were thought of in terms of these actions, and it resulted in some sort of neural code that for binary symbols. So, in fact, all we've really done is transmit binary code by wiggling my hands and moving my legs, and then your computer on the other end has translated those binary numbers into words or bits or information in general that will then be transcoded in your brain as whatever, as moving your hands and legs. This is a stupid article. We're done with this article. I'm so over this article. God, that's obnoxious.
Can you tell what I'm neurally transmitting to you right now, Steve?
You've just been yoked?
That's the wrong show. Oh,
Sorry. You've been alt-tabbed?
no, but we are out of time.
We are
We're
completely out of
for
time.
today. So, guys, thank you so much for joining us today. As always, we really appreciate you guys showing up and interacting and asking us questions. And we hope you have enjoyed listening to us ramble about subjects that we perhaps are not qualified to ramble about, but nevertheless, entertainment. There you go. Stay tuned for more content coming at you next week. Just like always, on behalf of Jenny and the rest of the team here at Newegg TV. We hope you enjoy your weekend. Stay safe. And Steve?
And don't forget, it's a 3-day weekend, so you don't have to come to work Monday.